Put your shoes on, we got a long walk home. And grab your pitchfork and your torch, it's a long dark road. And if you stay close to me, we'll make it through the night. You know the monsters come out when they see the street lights. And there's something in the dark that we've all heard of. Do they come from below or come from above? And there's something in the dark that gets into my head. I think they're hiding in the closet and under the bed. There's a cool breeze blowing across my face. I gotta get up, get out, get away from this forsaken place. And when they talk to me, I don't know what to say. I hold my ears and close my eyes, but they won't go away. And there's something in the dark that we've all heard of. Do they come from below or come from above? And there's something in the dark that gets into my head. I think they're hiding in the closet and under the bed. Something in the dark that we've all heard of. Do they come from below or come from above? And there's something in the dark that gets into my head. I think they're hiding in the closet and under the bed. They're hiding under the bed. They're hiding under the bed. No! I gotta get away!
Hello everyone and welcome to the very first episode of EVP, Everyday Voices of the Paranormal Podcast. John, I gotta tell you, man, I was excited when that guy right there, that is a group, guys, called Joel. They're a musical group. When we started the webpage, I kind of talked to John at first, guys, and I was like, John, hey man, look, me and you, we've known each other for quite a while. You know, we're always helping each other out and stuff. What do you think if we started a podcast? Ain't that kind of how I brought it to you?
Oh, pretty much. And those songs, especially that one, perfect for an intro.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Guys, what happened with Joel was he saw that we had the podcast and that we were starting it up, and he said, hey, would you guys be interested in my music? And I was like, actually, yeah, I mean, me and John, we're getting this started, and we honestly need an intro and an outro. And
the songs are about paranormal.
Yes, all of his songs. You guys got to go check it out. Like, there's some of the song titles. I'll go click on it real quick. Some of the song titles, they're all paranormal related. And if you guys hear wind and stuff, me and John are recording this outside. It's quieter at my house this way. But the first song on here is There's a Nightmare in My Closet, which is what you just heard. Great song, love it. It fits I love the thought of like a monster in the closet walking under the street lights.
It's
and
a
all
kid's
that.
scariest thoughts, that and under the bed, of course.
Yes. The second song, of course, is about the Mothman. That's Point Pleasant. And then our outro is, you guys will hear at the end. And we're going to play the songs long like that. The whole song.
Did you almost say thong?
Yeah. We're going to play the whole songs at the beginning and end. Unless we get some really long episodes. Then we might shorten them down. But I left this place will be the end. I think the title kind of fits the fact that we're signing off. And I think that one's about ghosts. I don't know. Joel, man, I know you're listening. Tell me. Hey, and we're going to have him on eventually. But I think that song's about a ghost because I left this place. And then the last song is about the Loch Ness Monster. I am the Loch Ness Monster. This guy's songs, like I said, it fits perfectly with a paranormal themed podcast.
I'm sure he has a Bigfoot one coming up.
I think that the cover of his album Diversions has a Bigfoot on it. See?
Oh, it does. Yeah.
So we're gonna have him on eventually. I don't know when yet. Me and John, we got the first 3 episodes in the pot. We're gonna try to get those out to you guys. This one will be out tonight. The next one he'll interview me, and then we're going to do the one about equipment, because that's just one me and John constantly talk about equipment.
Oh, all the time.
Then, I do have a plan to get Levi Anthony on here. Levi Anthony's a good friend of mine. I've known him almost as long as, I've known him as long as FPI's been around. But I met him when I had my group in Shreveport, which we'll talk about in my episode.
I'm definitely going there.
Yeah.
I already have some questions for down there.
Yeah. And then eventually we'll be getting to Dale Vakurka. Dale Vakurka's out of Mentor, Ohio. You got to get a hold of him because your group should go check out the lagoons if he still has that. It's out. Unfortunately, I know you mean you'll get to this, but we both don't like outdoor investigations, and that is an outdoor one.
I'll do them, but they're not my favorite.
I did have an experience there. It's just, we probably won't talk about that in my episode, but when we were there, Jennifer and me, we were splitting a big, that's over here. Oh, it might be back behind me. We had a big, like a big drink from like Circle K, and we were passing it back and forth. And she'll poke me when she wants it and stuff because we're talking. And it felt like somebody walked up behind me, and Dale witnessed this because it freaked me out. Poked me 3 times in the back. And I turned around, and there's an old man staring at me, looking mad. And Dale sent me a picture later, because suddenly the guy was gone. I told Dale about it, and he sent me a picture later, and it was the old guy that used to own those lagoons.
Wow.
Yeah, people used to trespass there, and he would walk up behind them and scare them off.
So you actually seen his spirit?
I've seen him. I've seen his face.
It's amazing when things like that happen.
Yeah. And Dale,
very rare.
Dale, if you're listening, man, comment below on this on Facebook and tell everybody, because you know that happened. So yeah.
I was thinking, and this just came to me. Instead of you just asking me question after question, why don't we go back and forth?
We could do that if you want.
Like you ask me one, I'll ask you one.
And we could do that long term, yeah.
If you want, it's up to you.
So let's get into that, because now I don't remember when did we meet. When was that? I know it was at last Tri-County Parafest.
2023, at least 2015, 2014?
2014, 2015.
Maybe even 2013. I'm not sure.
Let's look it up, because I have the Tri-County Parafest saved on the FBI page. But me and John met at the last Tri-County Parafest, and because him and his friend Allison came along
to the museum, and
yeah, they came to because we had an investigation after that, and at the museum, which we'll be talking about that here in a little bit.
I feel sorry for everyone that has not been able to investigate that museum.
I know. We'll get into that too. Why that? We're not going to mention names, but we'll get into why that got taken away. I want the truth to be heard, because and the fact is, you know the truth as well as I do. You know what we're going to say is the truth. You know, the ones who are involved will probably say, "Oh no, that's not what happened," but it's exactly what happened. Because anybody in FBI, they all know.
Well, we know we didn't use that restroom.
Yeah. The last Tri-County Parafest. Wow, it's not listed on here. That was 2013, so it would have been 2015.
Yeah, so it was around 2014, 2015.
So Jon came in with Allison, and they investigated the museum with us after the Parafest, and after that they got involved with FPI. But I never have asked you, like, what was your first experience? Like, was your first experience before that, or did you have your first paranormal experience before FPI?
No, actually, that was one of the reasons why I got involved with it, to see if it was real, paranormal stuff. My dad and I used to watch Taps.
Yeah.
Who hasn't?
Well, yeah. Everybody's seen that show.
Right.
Now.
And I always wondered. So at first, it was curiosity and for fun. And we heard there was going to be a public hunt at the museum here in Fostoria.
Yep.
And
we did a lot of those.
I had a recorder. And we met you guys. And I was just floored that we are allowed to investigate on our own. I had no idea that any place ever allowed that.
Yeah, that was something that we did. That was what a lot of people... You guys, when you're listening, the way we ran that museum, if you came in at a public hunt, we would spend a little bit, and Jon witnessed this, we would spend a little bit of time with you, kind of show you where we know stuff happened. And then... After a little while, after spending a little bit of time with you, letting you get used to the equipment, because you used our equipment. That's another thing.
Yeah, the DVR was set up.
And after a little bit, we would let you go on your own. See, because, I mean, it's more honest that way because the group's not there with you. You know where we are at all times. You don't feel like
you have a babysitter.
Yeah.
And my first night, I caught one of the best EVPs ever, even until now. And... it was the little girl whispering, "I love you." Crystal clear.
So now that Jon's told his first experience was there, my first experience in the paranormal related, I grew up in a little bitty town, Jonesville, Louisiana. It's no bigger than Fostoria, and I was 16 years old. And if any of my family or friends are listening from back home, they'll tell you I used to make fun of people. Yes, I was a chicken. Like, if a person confronted me, I would be scared and I would run away. But as far as the paranormal, I thought people were lying to me. You know, I always took it as, anytime you said, "Oh, this is going on," I thought you're just wanting attention and you're lying. And people would tell me about this house up the street from me. And I think the picture's on the FBI page of the house. It's gone now. But it was on Mound Street. And guys, since we're doing this way, this episode will probably run longer than 30 minutes like we planned. But one summer, I was like, you know what? I'm bored. There's nothing to do. I decided I'll go up there, visit this house, see for myself. And sure enough, I had heard a story about a bicycle being in the yard, growing up in the weeds, and people were always trying to get that bicycle. They wanted it. And I was like, oh, there it is. So I knew I was at the right place. And I walked down. It was a little alleyway that ran between the fence and the house. And I went in the backyard, and there were graves back there.
Oh.
Yeah, basically what I found out later was that the family that used to live in the house was buried on the property. And there was a little fenced-in area behind the house. And I was like, oh, that's why they think it's haunted. You know, spent a little bit of time back there, and I left. And old country-style houses would have like a kitchen sink there would be a window, but it would be higher than, kind of like how that one is. The window's higher than the rest. That was for the kitchen sink. And all of a sudden, like dead of summer, Louisiana, I suddenly got freezing cold. And I stopped and I looked up at the window and I heard somebody in the house, which was boarded up, there was no way to get in or out of that house, run up to that window and knock on that window. And I booked it out of there.
How old were you?
16.
Yeah, I don't blame you for
after that, that's actually what leads me to be what I am, where I got into the paranormal, because there was no groups back then that I was aware of. I spent hours and hours at the library. I'd pick up any book on hauntings, whether it was fiction or truth, and I would read it. I don't know how many times I read the Amityville Horror. I don't know how many times I read every Edgar Allan Poe story about ghosts. I wanted to be someone, because I tried telling people, and I got what I gave, was laughed at. Oh, you're lying. Jamie wants attention. But I was like, I want to be somebody can talk to. Even if I don't investigate it, people can come to me and say, hey, Jamie, man, listen, this happened to me. And I would listen, because I had it happen the same way I am today. I'll listen. And if I can think of a logical explanation, even back then, I would go, well, you sure, that scratching wasn't the tree limb out behind the house, or
a
pet scratch, or a possum inside, anything. But that's actually my first, and I had many after that. I worked at the jail, and I had an experience there.
This is one of my questions for you. Your time as a cop, did you take anything that you learned in your training and investigating from being a cop into the paranormal field?
Interviewing people, just the way that I interview people. It's that's why you've heard people say that I seem a little bit cold and frigid. I'm trying to make sure I understand every detail.
Gotcha.
I might ask you that same question 2, 10, 15 times. I'm looking for consistency, because there are people who, like I said, that want attention. We run into that now, where there are people who will straight up lie to you just because they want the attention. Like we had that one case not long ago where the kid we found out later was a prankster. The same situation where you wind up running into, they lie, but eventually out of you keep asking, something's going to slip up. It becomes, I'm not going to name any places, but it's a famous place where FBI ran into, it was on the second floor. And then later, no, it was on the third floor. And then later on, nope, it was on the first floor. And it was like, where did it happen? You can't be telling me 3 different locations, and then they're on TV saying, it was in the attic. Where was it? It can't be in 3 or 4 different places. The truth is eventually you're going to get caught.
Yeah. A liar that they'll have to remember every time.
Yep. So, what was your first investigation with FBI? I can't remember. I know we investigated the museum with
museum
us.
a lot. Oh man. Well, it was a residence. I honestly don't remember the first one. I know there was one out in Rawson. There was one outside of Tiffin.
Yeah.
There was a couple here in town. Oh, wait, I think it was that one that you didn't want to do.
There was I think you're right. There was a location, guys. There was this house, and I'm not going to name it again. So I'm not naming any names, but there's a guy here in town who has several rental properties, and we get a call, and I remember our case manager at the time, I do miss her. In fact, the name of this podcast, Everyday Voices of the Paranormal, was originally meant as a YouTube channel that me and her were doing. But anyway, we show up at this house, and it was going to be like multiple. I think he was going to have multiple. He said he was going to have multiple apartments in it, and you couldn't walk through this house.
I remember I was newer. April, I think, was there. She was newer, so we were all excited. Yeah, let's go in. And then we went in, we were like, wait a minute. Yeah. And I saw big spiders everywhere, and I'm terrified of spiders.
Yeah. There was big old dead rats, like the size of squirrels.
I'm just like, what? Now I know why you guys didn't do it, and we did.
We were telling everyone, hey, we don't know if we want to do it. And I think you and somebody else said, oh, no, we'll do it.
Yeah, we jumped at the chance. We were newer. We were like, yeah, let's do it.
It was so bad that when I went in there, I remember I got sick to my stomach when I left. Because just the sights and the smells in that house. In fact, guys, paranormal investigators that are listening, if you've ever had houses that you went to that were horrible. Sound off below. Because I'll tell you this, before you come along, before FPI became what we did become it for a little while, we got a call to go to a house. Monica can tell you about this. Down in we show up, and he said about how uneasy he was in the kitchen. And me and at the time, we still had this guy that was our tech manager, who's no longer we no longer even work with. Who I won't even recommend I won't even say his name, but it's not because I don't want him to know I'm talking about him, because I honestly, I'm not being mean, I don't care. But I don't want people to even talk to him. But we went down in the basement, in the kitchen, because when you walk in the kitchen, it felt kind of like a fun house. So we go down in the basement, and the kitchen has a one big beam that runs along.
Let me guess, slanted floor.
No, worse.
Oh no.
The main beam was broke. And instead of replacing that main beam that held the kitchen up, they took a 4x4 and stood it where that crack was and set it on a cinder block.
Oh no.
So when you're walking through that kitchen, you're doing this, but that's because down in the basement, probably that 4x4 was doing the same thing.
Oh no. Yeah, that would definitely make you feel lightheaded and...
Yeah, and so we showed him that and told him, because they wouldn't go down there because they were afraid of the basement. Down in the basement, we did find a bat, but we didn't find anything really paranormal related
That
there.
is the one thing that everyone needs to be careful of, is bats.
Yeah.
Doing this, bats are no joke. You can get rabies.
Yeah.
They are everywhere. You got to be real careful with those.
And you'll never know where they are.
Exactly. Like sometimes, because we investigate in the dark, and sometimes you don't know what they are. You hear noises, but it could be bats flying right by you.
Now, speaking of bats, there was an investigation that FPI did right after the History of Fostoria set, where we went. I forget the name of the town, but it's an old auction house, Ben's Auction House. If you go on our page, you'll see it. I think it's Helena. I think it's Helena.
It might be.
But there was something that happened in there, and the guy that was the group that got us in told us that he thinks that it was a bat that flew at our camera, but there was no bats in there. There was nothing the whole entire time we were in there. But you see this face just fly at the camera.
Face?
It was a face. Tim, I know you're listening. Tell Jon next time you see him. You see this face just fly at the camera.
Wow.
And it looked like a human head with hair flying back. So now you've left FPI since then, since a while back, and you started your own group. Tell us a little bit about your group.
It's called Wayne Fostoria Genoa Paranormal Investigations. We kept it simple, just like FBI, because like you said, if people search up cities, that will pop up. Yep. And it's from where most of our members are from. And we had always planned on eventually creating our own group. And shortly after that, one of our members was like, hey, let's go to the Bel Air house. I looked it up, booked it. And then issues came up where it looked like it might shut down. Mm-hmm. So I called and rescheduled it before, so that we could get in and investigate. But then it turned out Kristen Lee, she was looking, for a partner. It came down to the wire. I came up with the money, and it was like the day of, and it came down to the wire. We were able to save it.
Yeah, she had been looking for a partner for a while. You need to ask her about. She had asked me once upon a time. I told you that. But now, I know you had that. So you had FPI and WFPI. My starting investigating was just with friends. Mm-hmm. Now I don't talk. This will be the first time a lot of you who have heard me talk about my investigating before will be hearing the truth, because now as a minister, I'm going to be telling the 100% truth about things, whereas before I just told people it was with a group. but it was with just friends of Jennifer.
Let me ask you something. Like, when you first started out, was it for fun and to see if it's real?
No.
Okay.
It was, like I told you, I had been researching it for years, since I was 16. 2004, me and my wife got married. Me and Jennifer got married, but before we got married, I met her friends, Mamie and Jessica, and we were all sitting around watching TV, and they were talking about like the shows and stuff, and they were all like, well, it'd be cool if we could get that kind of stuff. I said, you don't need that. It's like me and you were talking. You don't need a lot of this fancy equipment. Nope. Especially if you're like me and you come from studying the old school, the old ways. You know about things like dowsing rods and compasses and digital record. Well, it wasn't digital; it was tapes. Yep. Back then, it was tapes and cameras. That's all you need. That's all you need. And so we had all that stuff. You know, my father-in-law gave me a tape recorder. We went out and we bought some cassettes. We got a bunch of disposable cameras. We got I took a coat hanger and I made like 3 or 4 pairs of dowsing rods. I made we had compasses, and we just went out. And her friends were like, I know a place. And then so we show up there. We go out and we just start investigating. Somewhere I have a picture of me in a camouflage jacket holding your recorder. That's from that investigation. I have that somewhere. And I've got a picture of Mamie holding the recorder asking questions. So we went in and investigated this place. It was an old church. I don't know where it's at. Mamie said she thought it was a school, but when you go in, it's obviously a church. There was a chimney going up. There was a room over here that had the access to the bell tower. There was a front door and then the back door, which we were able to get into. And we sat in there recording, taking pictures for hours, just changing tapes, changing batteries, and we caught like a few things. And that investigation taught me you need a microphone with the old reel-to-reel recorders, because as we're listening, I'm hearing repeatedly, get out, get out, get out, get out.
Oh, wow.
And it was those gears spinning inside the old recorder. It was making it sound like a male voice going, get out, get out, get out. But it was just, so we went to Walmart. I bought a microphone and we went back and it was better. So we started catching, I think I told you on the phone, this meow, a cat meowing. And we went out there 20, 30 times at least. And eventually one day we said, every time we're there, Mamie and Jessica, if you guys listen, you can witness this. Jennifer will, she's inside, but the meow was always right before we turned the tape off. The entire time we're investigating, we see no cat, we hear no cat, but the moment we go to hit stop, meow. So we decide, let's go out there during the daylight. So we go out and we're walking around in there and we're moving, like there was old wood and all stuff that collapsed from the ceiling in there. And we're looking around and sure enough, we find a mummified cat.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
Yep, that tripped me out because I'm going to offend people when I say this, but as a minister, like I said, I'm telling the truth. I don't believe in animals after life. I've caught several. Like I showed you the video of the cat. I've got that was a friend of mine's cat who investigated his house, and that cat died not long before. And he literally was in tears when he saw his cat on that video. So for someone like me who's not a believer in cats in the afterlife, and animals in the afterlife, catching stuff like that trips me out. Because how do you explain that?
I've caught dog EVPs.
Yeah.
I've never caught any of them on camera or anything like that, but I've caught dogs barking and. Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, that was my first, and then of course I've investigated There's a cemetery. I'm not naming where because, again, it could offend people. There's a cemetery here near us that I've investigated 2 or 3 times. Once with that group, and then twice right after FPI started up. So that little small group of 4 people, me, my wife, and her 2 friends, that was the beginning of my official investigating, if you will, actually going out and investigating and getting my feet wet.
Yeah, mine was the museum, and then shortly after, you contacting me, you guys, to join the group. I was so excited.
Yeah,
that was so awesome.
We got you and and Allison both. That was, and Allison was somebody that, when you guys came in, I told her she reminded me a lot of how I got started. Her interest, how passionate she was about doing the investigating and stuff like that. Like that she really shined a light on me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I felt like I got real close with her and you both. But of course Tim's my boy. When Tim came in.
Tim.
But so yeah, like after that little bit of time, I moved back home to Shreveport. I started Shreveport Paranormal Investigations. That group died as it was blossoming. And by that I mean I had to leave, unfortunately. As it started getting noticed, that was when I wound up coming back up here. And I left it in the hands of 2 people who I love.
Is it still around?
No. Randy Brosette, Randy Brosette, he died. He's the one that I made the video about. He had I forget what he died of, but yeah, he's the one, when I go and I don't think you've ever been, yeah, you have. When we go and you've seen like how I inspect the house, I'm looking for creaky floors. Randy was well, not only that, but like the floors, looking for sound, creaky floors. He showed me what to look for. Because Randy was, he worked on houses. He was a contractor. And then, of course, somebody I'm not naming, for legal reasons, he was the only one. He's the only person who could have. He's the only other person I trusted to have FPI or SPI. He's in prison now, and he's going to be in there for a long time.
Oh no!
But I'm not going to go into details on what happened.
Yeah, I wasn't about to ask.
So yeah, that sadly, and that was when he got put in prison. It was while I was trying to help him start up FPI or SPI again, because he's a good investigator. He knows his stuff. He's not afraid of anything. And then, of course, like I said, we moved back up here. FPI just kind of took off. I've investigated more here in town than I have an SPI. We've done about 3 or 4 cases. We tried to get involved with another big time group who's been on TV. They were talking about I'm not saying who they are. I do wear their shirt. I have their shirt, and you've seen me wear it. They wanted us to give up the legal ownership of our group's name, which means we would have their name, be part of their group. They would send us cases as well as us getting our own. But if I decided I don't want to be associated with them anymore, I would never be able to be Shreveport Paranormal Investigations.
Oh, this was down there.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They wanted us to give up our name.
I thought you were talking about a certain group up here.
Oh no. No, that'll be about the museum when we get there. But here in town, I mean, we've done hundreds of cases here in town and all over the state. But Levi Anthony really helped FPI become what it was, because our like counter was stuck at about 200 people, and then when Levi came along, Levi's like, "Hey, watch this," and next thing I know, we're up to we're up 4,000 now or something like that. We're way up there.
That's awesome.
Now the movie, I wish you had got to come along.
Yeah, that was before me. I don't know how far before, but I remember you guys talking about it when I first joined.
So this is something for you guys. I want to make sure that this is known. Everyday Voices of the Paranormal is not going to be about the celebrities. If we have celebrities on, good. I want this to be something where we can pass on things, kind of like I did with you and Allison. A little bit of knowledge, a little bit of experience. We can show and have other smaller groups come on, maybe get their self noticed and learn a little bit from people like me. If Keith Age comes on.
I learned a lot from FBI, you, Tim. A lot.
It was, so what I'm about to say, I want you guys to take this and remember it. With the movie situation, the group was, I thought, strong. I thought that the group, we had a heck of a lot of people. In my opinion, way too many. We had actually got to where you didn't experience this. There were so many people in FPI at one time that we split into teams.
Yeah. Actually, I remember towards the end where there were 2 investigations in one night, and we had enough people to do both.
Yeah. Before that, what we would do, because we didn't get a lot of cases, but we still had a heck of a lot of people. And originally, we started doing a rotation, which we brought back, yep. Where, if you went last time, you're going to sit out this one and let somebody else get a chance. If they want to give you their spot, good. But we had it literally where we had an A team and a B team. And that was with that one guy who, I won't mention. So along comes the idea, I promised the group from the get-go, if we ever, I'm not going to actively look to be on TV. I'm not going to actively look to be in a movie. I'm not going to actively look to be in a book or any of that. If it comes along, I'm going to give everybody the chance. I'm not going to say no. Mm-hmm. Matt Ehrman from Capture One Studios contacted me, and he says, "Hey, how would you? We're doing this History of Fostoria series. Your group is called Fostoria Paranormal Investigations. How would you like to come in and do something with us?" I said, yes. Here's something for all of you listening to learn. Don't tell your group. If you want to know who's going to stay, don't tell them. Contact them with a special meeting. Like where before FPI had monthly meetings, I said, we need to meet this weekend. Why? It's a surprise for the group. What did I get? This is exactly what I got. I had one member who said, who suddenly became angry with me and said, somebody who wasn't working, he suddenly got angry and said, I just can't come because you're having this at a restaurant and I can't eat. The reason we were having it as a restaurant was because the person who we had it at their house all the time suddenly goes, if you can't tell me what it's about and who's coming, you can't do it in my house. Everybody quit. It got down to me, Jennifer, Tracy, Candy, Tim and Amber had just come along, and Dennis. And I think at the time Michelle was a part-timer.
Tammy?
And Tammy was in the group at the time. I think Tammy had just come along too. But the whole group imploded. What did this teach me? Who was really there?
Right.
Who was really in it for the long haul? And then what did I get when the movie came out? Oh, if you'd have told me, man. That was the point.
Yeah.
That was the point. And
you got the members that were truly in it.
Yep. And and like I said from the get-go, I told the group, if it ever comes along, I'm not going to say no. They all were like, well, you've been kind of distant lately, because I was thinking about it. I didn't know what to say because me and Matt were kind of going back and forth in emails. I was battling the whole, I don't want fame. You know that. I've never wanted it. You know, when the newspapers come along, I'm very hesitant to answer them. I'm very hesitant to get in the newspaper. I'm very hesitant at that type of stuff, because I don't want to get famous. I just want to help people. But that showed me who was really there.
Yep.
So, you know, in little moments like that, I think those are important, that we keep it a secret from the group, not as a... Because what if it fell through?
It actually shows loyalty.
Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, what if it fell through?
Right.
What if the group had, came together, Matt got excited, and then Matt goes, you know what, I think I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have everybody hold it against me, because, well, you promised us. It's like, I didn't promise you nothing. I told you if I came along, I wouldn't say no. You know, and then some of our members, let's face it, guys, paranormal investigators, we're not a handsome bunch. A lot of us are not good-looking people.
Well, come on now. Some of us are.
But, and then you look at the fact, Tim and Amber have stuck with us.
Yep.
Out of all, you look at the poster from that time period, you got me. Jennifer can't investigate no more because of her health.
Those two are very solid members.
Yeah.
They are.
And they're the only two besides me and Jennifer that's left from that.
Hey, I'm a part-timer.
Yeah, but you weren't in the movie, though. I was going to say, for the movie.
True. Yeah.
And it's like, if it comes along again, would I say no? No. But again, I'm not actively looking for it. This podcast thing, this is something that's fun, that just me and you can do. If it goes well, good. If it doesn't, we gave it our best shot.
I learned so much about gear and everything from Tim when I was in FBI, a lot.
And that was something with Dennis. Dennis came in as a tech. Oh, Lord, I said his name. I wasn't going to say Dennis's name. But Dennis was a guy who came along. He was, I will say this, Dennis does know his stuff. When it comes to the paranormal, he's a great, me and him were really good friends. We both were former police officers, so we had that. We bonded over that. He was a good tech. When Tim came in, Tim was his assistant. Whatever happened between those two is none of my business, but they saw. It's one of those situations where, again, this is a learning experience for people who could take this from me. I kept the one that didn't complain and make an issue.
No, you don't want drama.
No. Tim kept it professional. Tim was willing to work with him. He wasn't willing to work with Tim. And I wasn't going to get rid of somebody who stuck around the first time. And it just, with the movie, he came in, he didn't want to be in the video. He didn't want to be on picture. He wouldn't even let him take a picture of him holding the equipment.
And Tim's not only knowledgeable with equipment and gear, but he's one of the more knowledgeable people of the paranormal that I've met. He's really solid.
And that museum. So let's talk about the museum.
Yes.
We talked a little bit about Bel Air. The Fostoria, we changed it to, as for the paranormal side, we named it the Haunted Fostoria Museum, but it's the Fostoria Area Historical Society and Museum.
And there's two of them now.
Yeah, they got the place on the corner where they moved the Foster stuff to, which we never had anything really with the Foster stuff while we were there.
And we never got to investigate the new one.
We were supposed to before everything went down. Mm-hmm. But that was our
home.
It became our home. We investigated so much. But the thing was, it wasn't, I'm not going to say payment, because payment makes it sound like, we told them if they would let us run investigations out of there, they would make money off of it. And they did. They made a lot of money off of it. They won't admit it. I don't know if it's a tax thing. I don't know. But we were in there for 2-3 years, every Saturday during the months we were allowed to, and that place was packed every time.
Yeah, especially for the public ones.
We were losing investigations because we were busy with the museum, and I was happy with it. I loved investigating there. I loved being in there.
I do. I miss it.
But it's one of those situations where they got more than we did because of that. Because they had us in the movie. we were bringing in people to this little town one group was from Florida.
All over the place.
Keith Age, guys, if you know Keith Age, and shout out to Keith, me and him, Keith, man, get a hold of me, man. We haven't talked in a while, and I miss you. We were really good friends, but he, when he came in, he said that place reminded him of Waverly when it first got started. That's just how active it was. That's just how cool that place was. And the thought of the fact that we lost it, not us, when I say us, I don't mean me and you, but I mean me, you, and anybody who's listening. They lost a prime place to investigate.
The paranormal world lost.
Yeah, and all because, I'm not naming any names.
We actually don't know who did that.
Well,
the
yeah,
bathroom thing.
But they did tell you said they did say that what they said about how they were going to get the place. And I'm not saying, I can't guarantee that is it, because we were told so many stories.
Things. Yeah.
But it is odd that it was around that same time when this particular group was looking to take it from us.
And they filmed something in there too.
Yeah, they were constantly filming in there. But we were told
someone used the restroom.
Which the restroom was shut off. We knew it. We had worked out
There's a sign on the door too.
Yeah, well, but me and Tim put stuff in front of the door. There's no way for anybody to get in there. But people were, and now this is where, to me, I've been wondering if they mean that front restroom. Because me and Tim went in, and this is new for you because you never heard this. Tim can witness to this. We went in with Leonard. I don't remember why we were in there with Leonard. And Leonard was going back there to the showers for something. Now the showers, for those who've been in there, if you go in where the fire trucks were, there was a set of lockers that were there. You go behind those lockers, and if you remember, it was full of mannequins and stuff. You go all the way at the end, and there's showers back there that were originally for the fire department. Leonard went back there for something, and me and Tim were behind him, and when we walked in there, we all stopped and went, oh my goodness, it smelled like somebody had used the bathroom. I want to know, was it that? Because again, that was blocked off. There was no way anybody could get in there. The front door, the front bathroom, the one that we all assume they're talking about, was blocked off. There was no way anybody could go in there.
And there's a sign on the door too.
Mm-hmm. We were told that. We were told insurance purposes. But if it was insurance purposes, you know that we all tried to get insurance.
I actually was successful in getting insurance.
Mm-hmm.
But then it got switched, so I don't think it was necessarily insurance. It was, I think, something else, and I'm not going to really.
Yeah, you think like I do. It was that other group. But another one that's, I just think we were sabotaged. I really do. But, then the whole security thing where people were trying to break in, me and Tim offered to put up security system of our own money, our own pocket. We were going to pay for it. We were going to install it ourselves. And if you go up there now, there's cameras installed everywhere. Me and Tim were going to put cameras. They paid a security company to do it. So not only did they buy the equipment, they paid somebody to install it.
Yep.
But in the long run, the one that bothers me the most was when we were told how much money they say they made.
I don't know. I'd never heard that.
Tim, verify with me if you will in a comment. I don't know. Hopefully Tim listens, but I remember being told that they said it was like $200 and something.
There's no way that was it.
And if you look at all the repairs that were made, all the stuff that they did after we were in there.
Just by my quick math, when I joined, I figured out it was at least $700 to $800 just from when I joined to like the end, somewhere in there, like $600 to $800, and that's not even the whole time you guys, FBI, had
But if
it.
you look, they painted the doors. They replaced that front door. They replaced the back door. They put new carpeting in. They put in new ceiling tiles. They painted the inside. There was all kind of remodeling done. They got a lot of money. It was, now, like I said, tax purposes, I don't know. I'm not angry over that. I would have liked the truth.
I'm just glad we got to investigate it.
But Leonard quit.
Oh, he's not in the historical.
He's still part of the historical society, but he's no longer the president. He gave it up after everything went down. Leonard backed us. Leonard liked us. Leonard knows we did our job. Leonard knows we took care of the place. We had all those forms. Everything was kosher. There was no issues.
Yeah, Leonard's always. Every time I talk to him, he's always real nice. Great guy.
But the museum, that was our home for gosh knows how long. We had an office. That back room was our office. That was ours. We got our meetings back there. We had our equipment back there. That was ours.
And now, as far as I know, nobody investigates there. As far as I know.
I don't think they'll let anybody anymore.
Which is sad, because it could really help.
Yeah, they made money off of it. I mean, we were so busy. One weekend, when we first started, we were so busy that we caused Flippin' Jimmy's computers to crash.
Flippin' Jimmy's, great restaurant, by the way.
If you guys get a chance, go in there, ask for the Bigfoot. That is the official FBI meal that was created, no kidding, by me and Tim.
Yep.
It was done at the last Parafest. Me and Tim were wanting. We had a cryptozoologist come in, and we thought it'd be cool to have a meal kind of dedicated to that. Where we thought, well, what if we do the Bigfoot? So we created that. Now,
don't eat it before an investigation.
Now, before we got started, you mentioned. Now, this show is not going to just be ghosts. We're going to be talking about ghosts. We're going to be talking about UFOs, cryptids, conspiracy theories, all that stuff. I'm talking Bilderberg Group. Yep. I'm talking lizard people. I'm talking everything.
There's a lot of that stuff, like the cryptic, I don't know a lot about, but it'll be interesting to talk about and learn.
I would like to talk to my dad. My dad... Now, whether or not this was just a story he told me to be, cool dad. When I was younger, my dad talked about him and his brothers hunting. In Louisiana, they call him skunk ape, which is Bigfoot. I'd like to talk to my dad, see if we can get him to come on and talk about that. I do know a guy named
Dave Spinks. He had when he was younger with his dad, a really scary experience with a Bigfoot down in West Virginia, I believe. Mm-hmm. He's been on numerous shows about it. You guys should look him up, and it's legit.
So that'll be all for this first episode, guys. We're at 52 minutes long, so keep tuning in, guys. I want you to keep tuning in to EVP, Everyday Voices of the Paranormal. And because we'll be talking about things like this, ghosts, and like I said, maybe eventually we'll get into lizard people and stuff like that. We can go all in on just that type of stuff. So let's play us out with our outro.
Until the next.
Yep, here comes "I Left This Place" by Joel.
Has it been since I left this place? I watched these fields grow smaller under my feet as I left this place. Was it a dream, or did they take me away into outer space? Or was it worse? Was I just seeing things that would shake my faith? So I just faked it and no one said that he convinces the weak to leave the faith. I should know, I for one have seen